We're just a couple of simple guys.
Yeah, we like sunshine, puppy dogs, good friends, blue skies. Oh, and streaming video games on the internet for strangers.
And today we're going to take you through the highs, the lows, and the overall experience of starting a Twitch channel. Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, and when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And like we said, we're going to take you through our overall story with our Twitch channel, which is admittedly still very much young and growing. But before we do that, we do want to do a little bit of a shameless plug for our TikTok. We're seeing consistent growth over there on TikTok, but it's not where we want it to be. So go over there, follow us on TikTok at Gaming Gig. We post over there very often, and we think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. But moving on to Twitch. So a few months ago, we started a Twitch channel. Around the same time that we started our YouTube channel, our TikTok, we kind of did everything all at once. Mm-hmm. And I think Twitch was one of the things that I was most excited about because it just seemed fun.
Yeah.
And it has proven to be fun.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's a lot of hard work.
It has been a lot of work. There was a time when I was just thinking about the stream like 24/7. But we were also trying to stream like 5 to 7 days a week at that point, which was a lot to butt off.
Yeah.
And, we're going to get to this a little later, but it's a steep learning curve if you've never done it. But before we jump into that, I want us to talk a little bit about our experience with Twitch prior to the Gaming Gig channel, and did we even have one?
So I'm not sure that I had a Twitch, like even a Twitch account to even watch other streamers until maybe like a month or two before we started the Gaming Gig channel.
Yeah.
And the reason I got into or downloaded Twitch to even watch other streamers is we started playing Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get good at the game.
Yeah.
And I found some people on YouTube giving tips and stuff, and I really wanted to watch them play Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. So that was the only reason I got it, was to watch other people play.
Yeah. My experience is pretty similar. I mean, I had one before that because I like at one point watched a small amount of Smash Ultimate streaming, but I didn't really stick with it. I think I might have made one because I was like watching somebody on YouTube and they were doing like a live stream of an arena, and I wanted to like join the arena, and then I wanted to see if it. Anyway, it was an experiment basically. Right. But once we started playing Sea of Thieves, I was the same way. I found Blurbs, found Fuzzy Bond, found Boxy. And I wanted to watch them play. So that's kind of when I started watching Twitch as well.
That being said, once we started streaming ourselves, I really haven't watched many other streamers because, one, I just don't have a whole lot of time, but also, I got okay at Sea of Thieves, and I didn't really, it wasn't a normal form of entertainment for me because I hadn't done it for years and years and years, It wasn't like YouTube, which I've been addicted to for, the past decade or more. And
or more.
Or more, yeah. Or more. And so Twitch just wasn't, it's still not something that I often go to. I always enjoy it when I do, but I just don't go there a lot.
Yeah, I really don't either. I mean, like we've said before, watching Blurbs is like taking a class. It's like you're taking a Sea of Thieves class. And you don't always feel like going to class.
That's right.
So no, I don't always watch Twitch, anymore. But that being said, I really want to, I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but we've made some friends, on Twitch.
Yeah.
And I want to watch
fellow streamers.
Yeah, and I want to watch them.
Yeah, and we have, and I have gone through and watched some people that that interact with us, and that's one of the most fun things about streaming is getting to know other people who stream, and then also getting to know people who are, interacting with you while you're playing, because streaming is completely new to me.
Yeah,
and this is like, everything about it is brand new because I've never done it before, and I guess you haven't either.
No, I hadn't either. Now I feel like I just jumped straight into the deep end and almost drowned more than once, but I'm now treading water. At least I'm learning to doggy paddle.
Yeah.
But, I am curious, I don't remember which of us had the idea to start a Twitch. But why did we start the Twitch? I mean, we were already like all in on YouTube.
Yeah.
What made you want to spend time doing another platform?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Well, I think one, like it kind of was fairly, I think we got into it kind of the right way, and that we didn't do it because we wanted to create a following on Twitch.
Right.
We did it because we had been playing Sea of Thieves every night anyway, and we were like, wouldn't it be fun to play this game but have more, people to interact with, and just kind of up the level of how fun that game was to begin with. It
Like
was
the social aspect of
it was like add a social aspect of it just to make it even more fun, because we found that when we were playing Sea of Thieves, that the most fun thing in general was when we ran across other people out in the season, like interacting with other people.
Yeah, talk first, shoot second.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so that was what we found to be most fun anyway. So it just seemed like the thing to do if we wanted to make it even more of a social thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And and we did get into it with no real expectations.
No.
But I think we found out pretty quickly that it was more difficult than we realized for a variety of reasons.
No kidding. I mean, anyone who thinks if you just think you can go on there and start playing a game and then people are going to watch you, I mean, maybe if you have an amazing personality, maybe,
or if you're literally the best in the world at that game, maybe eventually people will find you.
But for a lot of reasons, there are a lot of hurdles to get over, especially at the beginning. But we're still coming across things, and obviously our channel is very small. Our Twitch channel is tiny.
Yeah. We're not even affiliates yet.
No.
But we're close.
We're close, yeah. But, I feel like we've learned so much, and we still have a lot to learn, but gosh, it's been quite a learning experience.
Yeah.
But it's been fun.
Oh, it's been super fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I thought about it 24/7 for like a month straight probably. I was just always like reading things about how to get your stream running better, or what software to use, and what you want your stream to look like. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. It's ridiculous. And, even just down to the equipment, like, because I didn't have this PC, when we started streaming. I just had this MacBook Air, and it's one of the new MacBook Airs, and it's great, and it's powerful for what it is, but it ain't no streaming machine.
No.
It's just not. But we did it. That's how we started our Twitch channel, was from my MacBook Air. And I think it almost blew up, a couple times. It was probably, she was doing all she could.
Those no fans in there,
Yeah, there's no fans in the current MacBook Air. And it, anyway, I don't want to turn this into like a MacBook review, but it's a really cool computer. But yeah, there's no fans. So, and you know what? Even if there are fans, like, Nick has one of the new MacBook Pros, and even he's run into problems with like capture cards being weird and just random things. And, I saw Wolfden talk about this early on. He said, I don't know if you've ever tried streaming from any sort of Mac device, but it's horrible.
Yeah.
Even though it may have the specs for it. And he's right. It's just, you just run into so many little random errors, and you don't know why, and you don't know how to fix it. It is so much more straightforward with a Windows PC.
Yeah. From what I can tell from your experience, it certainly seems that way.
So much better. I mean, not even every capture card will run on Mac. So if you think you can just buy anything that says Elgato and you have a mic, you're wrong. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, let's kind of get into that. Like, so I think that was probably our initial biggest hurdle we had to get over, was how to actually, what equipment do we need to stream, because it seemed like it would be straightforward, but it ended up not being.
Well, I think streaming is a PC gamer's space, primarily.
And we weren't PC.
We weren't PC gamers. I mean, you had a gaming PC, but you didn't really use it.
Yeah.
And we had these fancy new, Series X's, and so that's what we played on. And, well, how do you get that into the internet while also recording yourself into a microphone for the stream, plus people in the game being able to, like, how do you do all these things without a PC? You can.
Yeah.
But I ended up having like the most convoluted microphone setup ever. I think at one point I was running 3 microphones, right?
Yeah, I think
because I was using my onboard MacBook microphone for Discord chat for us, which we'll talk about Discord because that's been a lifesaver. I was using this microphone for the stream, and then I was also using a little lav mic for game chat in game. Mm-hmm. And all of that was because I wasn't playing on a PC.
Right. So now you use one mic.
Now I use one mic.
Yeah.
And everything works great. And I went through 2 different capture cards. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was running the Elgato HD60S, which is supposed to be a great capture card, and I'm sure it is, if you don't have a Mac.
Right. And that's the one I actually purchased it from you. So.
And actually, it will work on Mac, but it won't work on M1 Mac. which is what I have.
Yeah.
So I sold that to Randy, and then I bought an HD60S Plus, which does work on Mac. But now that I'm using a PC, I use the display capture for Sea of Thieves. So the only time I use the capture card is if I'm capturing footage for a video from a console.
Right, but you can still use it.
Oh yeah, and it's great to have.
Yeah.
That's what I got all the Mario Kart footage
So
on.
that was kind of like our initial hurdle, was getting over the tech, like what to do. And then, because we started off just doing audio only. We didn't even have video.
That's right. We didn't have video.
We had just the video of our game, or your game playing.
Yeah.
And the rest of us, it was just our voices. We decided pretty quickly that we needed to have a camera, at least on you.
Yeah.
We put a camera on you, but then we decided, well, we needed a camera on everyone else that we're playing. So that was another hurdle, is how to get our video. So we decided to use Discord.
Yep.
And Discord is just a video chatting. So we just basically captured the video chat and put that on there.
Yeah.
And we did that for quite a while.
Yes.
Where it was your gameplay, but all of our video, whoever was in the crew, whether it was me or you, or me, you, Nick, and Dan.
Right. And even before that, we were just using a little chat widget, if you remember, from Discord. So before we even put videos on everybody, we just had little things that would highlight if you spoke or if Nick spoke. Yeah, but the videos was a big step up.
Yeah. That was, and then most recently, we've wanted to add in everyone's gameplay video.
The super stream, we've called it.
Where it's, Daniel's gameplay is the biggest, but around everyone else, whoever else is in the crew, around their video is a small little like thumbnail version of their gameplay video. So you can see, if you want to look and see, get for context what someone else in the crew is doing, you can do that. And that has been that was a big hurdle that it took us forever to even figure out a way to do it.
We thought we weren't going to be able to do it without buying some sort of subscription service that Nick found or something. And
we eventually found a free service to do it.
We did.
And it works great.
It works great. Yeah. You'd have to talk to some of the guys who watch, but I think it adds a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of our newest thing we've been doing. So the equipment hurdle was a big one to begin with.
And there's software involved too. Like I had to learn how to use OBS, which is not a hard program to use. But when you have a convoluted setup like we have with this, 4 cameras, 4 gameplay cameras, all the audio coming in and out,
overlays.
It's a convoluted little setup. But once you get it set up, it's not hard.
Yeah, exactly. So, we did that, but I think probably one of the things that has been really kind of difficult to do is just dealing with Twitch in general. In that, come on, Daniel, you're getting water on your table. Dealing with Twitch, so it's very hard to get discovered. I think you're clean.
I think I'm clean.
It's very hard to get discovered on Twitch. It's because the discovery process in terms of finding new streamers. So for example, say you want to watch Sea of Thieves. You want to watch some people play. You don't have a specific channel you want to watch. You just want to watch somebody play Sea of Thieves. First of all, you got to find the person that's wanting to do that.
Yeah.
Which is not a whole lot of people, because normally if they want to watch Sea of Thieves or any particular game, they're probably going to watch one certain person do it.
Yeah, they're probably going to watch Boxy.
Right. So you type in Sea of Thieves on Twitch. It gives you everyone who's streaming Sea of Thieves. But in general, I don't think it's exactly this, because I think it has a little bit to do with an algorithm of how many people are participating in the chats and stuff. But
probably
in general, the way it ranks it is it gives you the people at the top who have the most people watching, and then it just goes down all the way till it has the least people watching. In general, I think there's a little bit more to it than that, but it's basically that.
Yeah, and when you start out, guess how many people you have watching?
That's right.
Goose
and
egg.
you have people would have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and there could sometimes be hundreds of people streaming Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
So getting an audience or getting discovered by people on Twitch, just people who might want to watch you in order to become fans of yours in the first place. Just that in general is you're fighting against almost impossible odds.
Yes.
It really is an uphill battle.
It really is. And we put so much work into getting the stream looking good, sounding good, running good. And so it's disheartening, at first, because once you get that going, you're like, yes, I'm finally ready to stream. And then really what it amounts to is you're just playing video games with your friends, and it just happens to be on the internet if anybody found it.
Which is fine.
Which is fine.
Right, which is fun. But at the same time, you put in all this work, you want You want it to be appreciated in at least some way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that we've kind of always had a good attitude about it, even if we had streams where we didn't have much interaction or no interaction.
Which happens a lot.
Which happens sometimes, yeah. I think that one, because we're just playing the game with friends anyway, and we're just having fun. It's not like it's a big loss.
No, we were going to do it anyway.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. That's what we said starting out. Like, we're playing this game anyway.
Right.
We might as well stream it.
Right.
Yeah, and I still believe that.
Oh yeah.
And we have seen, it's been super slow, but we have seen growth. And like I said, we've met some really cool people, and we've got some regulars that show up almost every stream, and they really make it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, that's like, we've run across so many awesome people through Twitch. People who hang out with us in the chat, and really interesting people. And it's just like, I think all of our regulars, or even people who have just stopped by for a little bit, it's really been fun to interact with people, and just because they're from all over the world. We got people in other states in the United States. We got people across the world. It's like, that is so cool.
Very early on, we made friends with a dude in Australia.
Right.
And he's super cool. Shout out to Anthony if you happen to watch this.
Yeah.
You the man. We'd like to see you again.
So it's super cool.
And, because of those people, showing up, hanging out in the chat, adding to the discussions that we're already having, I find that I play the game differently. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Like, the moment you start streaming, it's like you can just play the game like normal, but it's almost hard to play the game like you normally would, because one, you're playing for people, and if you're wanting to be like streaming, you think like, I need to be an entertainer.
Right.
I need to do things that are interesting to watch. I can't just like...
You can't just sit stone-faced and be a tryhard.
Right. No.
You can.
You can, but it's not like... That's not what it's about.
Right.
And it absolutely changed the way we play the game. I think we make slower progress in the game now.
Yes, definitely.
Where we used to just like, when you're playing the game conventionally, you're gonna take the normal steps.
Yes.
But when you're streaming, lots of times you might do something different because you're streaming. You might decide to go pursue something else instead of continuing maybe your quest that you were working on or whatever.
For the sake of content.
For the sake of content, right?
Yeah.
Or you
might just get caught up talking.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which happens to us all the time. And that's another thing that makes me play so differently, is I'm always monitoring chat,
Right. Yeah.
So I'm watching chat, I'm playing the game, and we try to reiterate what people ask so that other people can hear it, and it's different, I would say it's more work, and it is more work, but it's also more fun.
Yeah, it is. And that's the reason we wanted to do it in the first place, right? That's
right.
what we're saying. So another thing I think about is like, one, you're being watched, like people are watching you play.
Yeah.
So it makes you want to be good at the game.
Yeah.
But I think we have both learned that that is kind of a false. What's the word? I don't know, but it's like, it's not a goal that is a healthy goal for your channel, for your Twitch channel.
No,
it's not about being the best.
It's not even what you need.
No.
No. It's not healthy to try, and even if it's not even what you need to do. It's just not.
It's not about being good at the game, even though you want to be because you're being watched. I think that we've had to fight that and be like, it's not about being good at the game.
Yeah.
It's about in being entertaining and also just having a good outlook on the game. And if you get sank, just because we're playing Sea of Thieves, you get sank,
Oh, all the time.
It's about having a good attitude and being, watchable and also likable, and to that, whether that's the people that are you're streaming with or the people that you are competing against in the game. And I think that if you try too hard to be good at the game, I think you're going to probably, at least for us, we found that when we do that, it's at a detriment to the stream.
You're going to turn some people off of the stream for sure.
Right.
And, and even if you do get sank, and even if you do have a little moment of salt, like you have to have you have to be light about it. It's not that you have to be like, G-rated Winnie the Pooh all the time. Like you can be real, but you have to be entertaining and relatable. And I think anyway. It's not like when we sink, I'm like, oh shucks, she was a good ship, but we'll get another one. It's like, I am frustrated sometimes, but But we're not jerks about it.
No. And I think another thing we've learned is like when we started streaming Sea of Thieves, look at all that water you spilled.
I know, I spilled a lot of water.
You don't got anything to clean it up with, do you?
No, but I can hang it here and let it drip for a second.
So when we started streaming Sea of Thieves, we had been playing Sea of Thieves every night for a while, and I think we were pretty decent at the game. Mm-hmm. And
I think we were too.
and then when we were initially streaming, we streamed every day that we could, and except when we had gigs, and we were still pretty good at the game. And I think for a while that was kind of our mission, was to be good at the game.
Yeah.
And then we kind of cut back, and now we're only streaming 3 days a week.
Yeah, because we had to.
Because we had to. We still haven't, we got to have time for the YouTube channel, for TikTok, like all that stuff.
And for like normal
And
life
just life,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when we did that, we got to where we got a little rusty.
Man, we really found that Sea of Thieves is not something that stays with you.
No.
Like, you really do get rusty with Sea of Thieves. But that goes back to what we were saying. I mean, the guys that watch us are way, 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 way better than us.
Oh, yeah.
And they still watch, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of people who watch are Sea of Thieves fans, and they're very good at the
Very
game.
good.
Very good at the game.
Yeah.
And I think we realize that we need to stop trying to pretend like we're good when we're not.
Yes.
And or even I think just being honest with yourself about where you're at in terms of how good you're and playing to your strengths.
Yes.
Because our strengths are right now not at being amazing at the game, although we do have some good moments. It's really about just trying to put positivity out there in the game, and
Yes.
and try to be in with the people who are watching our stream, and just enjoy it. Just have fun with the game, because at the end of the day, the games are about having fun, even in a competitive game like Sea of Thieves.
Yes. And we for a while we basically tried to turn our stream into a pirate variety show, and I don't think we're completely done trying that. But we haven't done it lately. I mean, we did like pirate trivia.
Oh yeah,
Or it wasn't really pirate trivia.
we're just having fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, we just did random things, and because we were trying to create like unique interactions, with
Right,
people that we ran into, and
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea,
So
Better than just trying to sink everybody.
we were trying to make content.
Yeah.
We're still trying to make content.
Right.
And I think we've found that it's best to make it oriented around our personalities and
Yes.
about us and our interactions in the game, instead of trying, like Sea of Thieves is Sea of Thieves. There's only so much you can do with the game.
Yes.
So you have to make it about your personalities.
And we've got all these little inside jokes now, and
Yeah.
if you want to learn about them, you just gotta go. You gotta come watch. I don't know what to say.
But it's tough to not think about making it content when you also are doing YouTube and TikTok, where it's like where it is making content as your focus. You have to have
Right.
new ideas, and you're always making something new.
Yes.
And I think that streaming isn't necessarily that.
No, it's a live performance instead of
Right.
pre-made. It's like performing live.
Yeah, but the thing is also I'm saying is it's not like it always has to be something completely different. Like
Oh, yeah.
It's really just like a time to hang out and let your personality shine,
Yes.
instead of trying to focus on like the game. It's not about the game.
It's not.
It doesn't matter what game you're playing if you're trying to stream. It's really about just being genuine and letting your personality come through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
And I think in that way, it's very different than YouTube.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it, I really feel like I could stand to do more of that in my YouTube videos. I just, I haven't gotten there yet.
It's tough to do
It
when it's like scripted.
Yeah.
When you're trying to when you're focusing so much on the content, it's hard to find that mix on YouTube. It's hard to find that blend of letting your own personality and your own personal thoughts in. It's you want to be. When you're making content, it's almost like you're too cold and calculated, because you're just focused on trying to get whatever your idea is across to the person. It's very tough on YouTube.
And you don't have somebody else to play off of. In Twitch, we
you're
have
by yourself.
each other, or we have each other plus Nick and Dan. I mean, I really enjoy when we have Nick and Dan, so I don't just have to talk to you.
Same,
Yeah.
very much so. So yeah, in a lot of ways, it's very different than YouTube. But it's also like once you get like in your thing, like it's in some ways it's a little easier than YouTube.
Yes, once you do all the ahead of time work,
All the legwork,
all the
to get you-
legwork,
yeah, to get you there for sure,
Yeah.
sure. So
there's some overhead involved
yeah,
you
there
know,
is.
that YouTube doesn't always have. But
No, like with YouTube, what's great about YouTube is like you can have, if you put in the time and you edit the videos, you don't have to have a great computer. You don't have to have you don't have to have a capture card. You can, there are things you can do to make YouTube videos where you really don't have to have that much like upfront equipment, and you can really do it on a much lower budget as long as you're
Definitely.
willing to take the time to do it. Whereas Twitch, I don't think you can, not as easily.
not as easily. I mean, and the best thing I've done for our Twitch channel is buy that PC, and that was not cheap.
Not cheap at all.
So yeah, it's harder.
It's definitely, in some ways, it's got a lot of upfront work. Mm-hmm. But whereas YouTube doesn't really have that. But YouTube, in terms of creating specific content, you really have to put your time in on that. Whereas once you get the Twitch going, if things are working, you can just kind of roll with it.
Yeah.
But our channel is still in the very early stages. We've only been streaming for a couple months, and our growth, we're like on the cusp of becoming affiliates.
Yes. That's been our goal.
That's been our goal, and I think we're going to get there soon. But
Oh yeah. We are.
it's a slow progress.
It is slow.
I'm
progress.
interested to see how it'll go once we hit affiliate.
I think it'll be pretty similar to where it is now, but I think we'll occasionally see some new things that get unlocked.
I wonder if the algorithm bumps affiliates more than non-affiliates.
It would make sense for it to do that.
You would think. But
We'll find out. I mean, and in addition to that, I try to tell people about our Discord as well, but because a lot of the people that we made friends with on Twitch joined the Discord, and that's just another way of communicating outside of Twitch.
right, it's a cool community thing.
Yes, it is, and it's one that we way underutilize.
But but when we do use it, and when people do interact with it, it's so much fun.
Yes, it's a lot of fun.
It's like, I really feel like we've in some ways been able to grow a community, even though it's a small community. It's still a cool community of people, and that is the best part about streaming.
Yes.
If you can, even if you're creating a very small little, family of people who are hanging out and or having similar interests, it doesn't really matter about the size. It's just about creating that community to be a fun place for people to go.
Yes.
And as long as you're genuine and you are trying to honestly just interact with people in a real fun way, I think it is not it's not impossible to create that community.
No, I mean, I think we've done it. It's just like you said, it's tiny. She's a baby, but she'll grow.
Right, but the thing is, it's already very fulfilling.
Yes.
For even though it's small.
In some ways, more fulfilling than the YouTube.
Oh
because
yeah,
it's so personal.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas YouTube, it's
Well, YouTube and
it's a lot
TikTok
of randos.
YouTube and TikTok's the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we do have a fair amount of commenters who on our polls and stuff
Yes,
who
we
are
do.
return.
Yeah.
Who people who are really have great great comments. They always have something very interesting to say, and so that community is certainly there on YouTube.
Yes, it is. Shout out to you, Heather Cook.
Well, and lots of people who there are a number of people that are continuous, who always have very interesting things to say, and I very much appreciate them.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, Discord is the Discord community feels different. You're absolutely right about that.
It definitely feels different.
More tight knit, and it's really cool.
But I think that's pretty much where we're at, on Twitch, right now, and we're going to keep going. Maybe we'll do another update, podcast later when we've hopefully got hundreds of followers. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but if you're not one of those followers and you are one of the people watching this podcast, please jump over there. I mean, it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time, and we're not going to be just doing Sea of Thieves forever. Eventually, who knows? We may be streaming Sea of Thieves 2. Who knows?
I don't think I couldn't see Sea of Thieves getting a second game. I think they're just going to continuously update this one game.
Hey, I may have to jump on the trend and start streaming Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga.
Everyone is.
Man, I watched a couple videos on that sidebar here, and it looks pretty cool. I gotta say, Looks like it would hit me.
You've never
right.
played a Lego game, have you?
Just a tiny bit. I played like one way long time ago, maybe like Batman, like Lego Batman or something, or maybe like a minute of a Star Wars game somewhere, like at a kiosk or something.
Yeah, I played one of the Lego Star Wars games at a kiosk one time, but I've also played Lego Batman and really liked it. And then Catherine has played the Lego Harry Potter games, and I've watched her play them. I have to say the Lego Harry Potter games are not as good as the Lego Batman game that I played.
Well, everybody's saying that Lego Star Wars is amazing, the new one.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So moving on to the second segment of our podcast today is we're going to talk about polls and comments. And our poll, and so we didn't really have a poll this week that directly related to our
To the
main
Twitch.
topic.
No,
you
not
know.
not really.
So you just chose one.
I just found one that I thought was interesting and had some good comments, and it's also something we talked about yesterday. You know, we almost talked about doing an episode on this topic, so
We did, yeah.
it's been on the brain. But we asked, mini games for the newest generation of consoles are $70, and is that too expensive? And overwhelmingly, the community said yes at 86%.
Too expensive, $70.
What do you think about that? I know where I stand on it.
Okay, here's my thoughts on it. Okay. It just depends on how you look at the gaming industry, because like here's my thoughts on this. One, all brand new games come out and they're basically the same price. Right now, most new generation games, like if they're on a PS5 or Series X, they're $70. Okay. That's, not all of them. Some publishers are putting them out at 60 because they're hoping to retain that, like maybe that they're trying to keep that old price point, maybe to hope that people pick that game over another because it's $10 cheaper. But in general, they're all around that $60, $70 price. Okay. And it doesn't really matter if the game is like going to end up being huge or it's going to end up being a flop. They cost the same initially. All right. And I think that in some ways that is good in a way. And I think that is because if the price wasn't standardized, I think that we would have games that, like, say a publisher knows it's going to be a banger, and like they know it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
I could see them being like, this is not a $70. Sony's even said that their games should be more than $70.
Yeah.
Like their big ones. Like they say they don't even, recouping their expenses is hard at 70. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, okay,
That's what they say.
Okay.
But I could see them being like, this is a premium experience. You're going to pay a premium price for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be $100, $120, $150. Right?
You think Nintendo wouldn't be charging us $100 for that sequel to Breath of the Wild? You're out of your mind.
Right. They would, right?
They would be.
They
and
would.
we'd buy it anyway.
And
You know
we'd buy
what?
it.
I'd say thank you.
So, but here's the thing. There's also, and some of those games are worth it.
Oh, yeah. Like
Some
Breath
those
of the
games,
Wild.
but it's very few games that are worth it. But some games would be worth the premium price, even
Definitely.
above $70.
Oh, yeah.
And there are certainly games that are not. But my kind of thought is maybe it all evens out
Yeah.
instead of it all evens
Law of
out.
averages.
But then here's another thing. My next thought is that initial price is only the price for early adopters.
Right.
Because over time, the market is going to dictate the price. And if a game doesn't sell well, it's going to go on sale. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's going to get down. I bought Cyberpunk for $10. Okay.
Right. And you loved it, too.
And I love that game.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I did wait until the next gen patch came out, but
Right.
it was $10. So like it wasn't like they kept trying to sell that game for $60. They realized they weren't getting sales, so they lowered. Like Best Buy ran a sale on it for $10 to get rid of all the copies they had. The market, to say that games are $60 or $70, they're really not. They're only that if you have to have games day one.
Day one. Yes. And that's interesting. Most people, I don't think about the fact that you can buy a game used. And that's a really good point.
Used, or just buy it
on sale.
Buy it on
or whatever.
sale, like
Right.
a couple months later. So but I get that this initial price is sometimes seems a little steep for maybe a game that you're not so sure about.
Which is where your GameFly subscription comes in.
Dude, I've convinced myself that that's the reason for GameFly is to try games that you're on the fence about.
Yeah.
Because it does hurt when you buy a game for $60, $70 and then you end up not liking it.
It does. That's true.
And then you like say you wanted to get rid of it, you could try to sell it on eBay, you could try to sell it back to GameStop, but you're not going to get your investment back.
No, you're not. And I take a little bit of a different approach here, and I appreciate for you not stealing my thunder on this because I know where you're going. But welcome to economics class with Gaming Gig. So there's this thing in economics called inflation. And if you're not familiar with it, look it up. I'm no Mr. McCormick.
He was our high school economics teacher.
You go to that man's class and learn how to live. I'm telling you what. But anyway, I don't remember who made this video that I watched a while ago. I want to say it was Spawnwave, but I'm not sure. But
you said this the other day on the podcast. I think it's Donkey.
Maybe it's Donkey.
I think it was Donkey that made one.
But somebody made a video where they went back in time and they looked, at these old games. Turns out video games have been $60 for a heck of a long time.
Since the 90s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went all the way back to the original Nintendo, which is even pre that.
The 80s.
Maybe I'm wrong, but
I don't know.
80s, 90s, it's been that way for our entire lives, probably longer. And, you can take two arguments there. One, those old games in some ways are just objectively not as good a lot of the time. So are they still worth $60? Well, maybe not. But $60 in 1984 is a lot more than $60 in 2022.
A lot more.
So, if anything, keeping that $60 price point, games have gotten cheaper. Even if you jump up to $70.
Games are cheaper. Right?
Games are cheaper, if you look at it economically.
Well, I remember when I was a kid in the 90s, getting my parents to purchase a video game was
hard.
It was very hard, and now I realize why, because they were very expensive.
Very expensive, yes. I mean, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, all those N64 games, $60. I mean, and Ocarina of Time's worth $100, which goes back to what you were saying, but not every game is.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know.
And I'm sure you talk about being frustrated. My parents probably purchased us a game or two that we didn't hardly play. And they were probably like, well, I'm not buying them any more games.
Right. Yeah. But
that only has to happen a couple times for you to be like, no, I'm not. And now that we're adults, we understand that way more than we did when we were kids, for sure. But I remember it being very difficult to get my parents to purchase video games for me. And that's why we rented games. They were way more likely to say, okay, we'll rent you a game at $1 a night.
Yeah.
And then, then their investment may only be $3, $4, $5.
Right.
Yeah. They were way more likely to do that.
Yes.
Instead of putting $60 into it. Yeah.
So that's where we stand on it. I understand your knee-jerk reaction of $70, that's $10 more than PS4. I get that.
And I think the reason that so many people say, yes, that's too expensive is because it's a psychology thing. You remember the bad experiences way more than you remember the good. You're never going to be upset that you spent $60 on Breath of the Wild. No. But you might be a little upset that you spent $60 on Mario Party,
Yeah.
Because the Mario, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna remember that and be like, gosh, Nintendo games are so, and Mario Party never goes on sale, but it's just it's, is it worth $60 to some people? Yes. To most people, I would say no.
Yeah, at least get Superstars, but
yeah,
that first Mario Party,
I played Super Mario Party.
I played it one time at your house, and I knew immediately. Well, I'm glad Randy bought it. Because I ain't bought it. Right.
Well, I mean, and you're going to remember all those times that you bought a game for $60, $70 and it just wasn't your jam. And you're going to be like, well, that was, what a waste of money. Games are too expensive. I think that's just one of those biases where you remember all the bad ones.
Yeah, there's some psychology at play there for sure. But moving on to some comments. Carleria Rose. Celeria.
We went through this before. We've gone through this before.
Celeria Rose. I don't necessarily have an issue with them raising the general prices slightly. However, I think the industry would be better served by evolving how they handle the project size and budget rather than their current fixation on AAA. Basically, expand into the three core types of games. Small indie-sized projects that cost $15 to $30 with small teams who can do something, but I realized that I didn't screen cap the entire.
Oh, this is a
comment.
very long comment, by the way. So
but
get
I'm
ready.
looking it up right now, so don't you worry.
Get ready. But it's a very interesting comment. It's very interesting.
All right, so Celeria, sorry, we are back. Small indie-sized projects that can cost $15 to $30 with small teams who can just try all sorts of fun, creative, more personal ideas. Moderate-sized AA games that basically take a lot of the AAA titles that exist and push them down to working within a more moderate budget, and team size where you can have larger projects without obsessing over making it 100+ hours, or adding everything in the kitchen sink to try and sell as many copies as possible. These might be around $40 to $50. Lastly, at the top, we have a now more limited number of AAA games in the $60 to $70 range for games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Witcher 3, etc. These would basically be more standout releases for projects that really justify the scale and the price, rather than everybody trying to squeeze into justifying that high-tier price tag. Mm-hmm. They go on to say, on the consumer's end, this would give a wider range of titles at varying price points rather than how it is now, where you have indie, AAA at full price, and then the occasional AA game that sneaks out. Meanwhile, from the dev side, the indie and AA projects would give more room to be creative and make more focused and unique games without the pressure of higher budget and expectations of the AAA market. Also, for the publisher side of things, it takes some pressure off, where not every game needs to sell a stupid number of copies to turn a profit, and there's less risk in taking chances on individual projects, which would hopefully, in turn, help reduce the crunch and stress on devs working for those publishers, since there wouldn't be as much writing on every single project. That is a long comment, but that's the kind of comment we want to see. That was well thought out and insightful.
And I've kind of, I initially replied with something I said like, it does seem like developers these days are always trying to swing for the fences. Mm-hmm. They're trying to get this huge game, and then they put all this money behind it, and then when it inevitably fails to meet expectations in terms of how much they're selling, mm-hmm. It just seems that has happened over and over and over, right?
Over and over.
And I do like it when a game does knock it out of the park, but mm-hmm. I don't think every game has to do that. They don't have to be these huge games.
No, definitely not. We've talked about that.
And
I
could understand there being like, kind of saying like, hey, we should have these like 3 or 4 different categories of games, and they have like kind of more set prices that are kind of scaled based on the project size. Mm-hmm. And here, now that I've thought about it a little more, I kind of think like that already happens, because like I just said a minute ago, that price of what a game costs is only its initial price.
Right.
And some games drop into those other tiered price that this person brought up. Those other tiered prices, they drop into where maybe they belong mm-hmm. very fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be just a month after release and the game's already half off.
True. Unless it says Nintendo on it.
Yeah, unless it says Nintendo on it.
But they go on to say something that really hit close to home for me, is that they honestly have gotten to the point where when devs say how big their game is and how many hours it's going to take, they lose interest. And mm-hmm. They say it's great in concept, but more often it just feels like it would have been great as a 30-hour experience and then stretch out to twice that much because it has to fit the AAA expectations. So mm-hmm. I agree with that, and we talk about that a lot. We really like the 10 to 15-hour mark. That's kind of the sweet spot for us.
Well, I mean, and like, I think that I like it when games give you and we've talked about this a million times on the podcast, but still, mm-hmm. I like it when a game has its core experience be around that 10 to 15 hour mark. But then but it has optional things, like if you really love the game and you want to do a bunch of extra stuff, mm-hmm. You can do extra things. Like you can do so I thought like Ghost of Tsushima did that really well.
Oh yeah.
Where it was about 15 hours for the main campaign, but if there are all these side quests and extra things you could do if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. Cyberpunk did that really well. I think it took me 18 hours. Right now I'm playing Ghostwire Tokyo, and it's got about a 10-hour campaign, but it's got a bunch of side stuff mm-hmm. that if I want to do it, I can.
That's great.
And I think that
Final Fantasy Remake did that pretty well.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer.
It was longer.
It was more like closer to 30-hour campaign. Maybe.
I think we beat it in the 20s, didn't we?
It's probably in the 20s, yeah. But it was not that like.
But there was a lot of side stuff you didn't have to do, is what I was getting.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you absolutely can.
Yes.
And it just depends on how much you want out of the game. And if you're perfectly happy being like, the main core experience and it taking you 15 hours, and you say, "Cool, I got my money's worth. I really enjoyed that." That's. But at the same time, I think that some people would argue that if they just focus on making that core experience really great and not all the peripheral extra side quests and like all this filler stuff, that the games could be cheaper. They could come out more often. Like maybe they would be able to work on that main core game and make it even better.
Yeah.
And I definitely hear that argument, and I probably agree with it to a degree as well. So it's complex.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm starting to get the itch again and I told you about this, to go back and play some retro games I missed. Using an emulator or whatever, and those games do that for me. They
nice...
really hit that sweet spot, and I think that's why I really love them. But we got another comment from Sim Racing Veteran. Games that were that price back in the Nintendo and Super Nintendo days. Oh, games were that price. So $70 today is actually a bargain. Yeah, so he's agreeing.
Kind of what you were saying earlier about inflation. Saying,
yes, and he's right.
Yeah,
or she's right. I don't know.
They are right.
Yeah.
Now we also have here another comment from the Master Yoshi that says, "Nintendo, I can do better than that. Single game costs $80, and this is just a joke." But
hits close to home though.
Nintendo doesn't. They don't lower their prices over time in general. They keep them, and I think that there's a lot of psychology at play there.
Definitely.
Because their games are always that top tier price. Just instinctively, you're going to think that they're always top tier games.
Yep.
And a lot of them are, but a lot of them aren't.
Yep.
And they don't really do. They do a little bit. Like they're not charging full price for this upcoming Switch sports game. WarioWare was like a $40 game. But most of their games come out at that $60 price point. They haven't moved up to $70, but they are at $60, and they stay at $60 for years and years and years and years and years.
Now you can get a good deal on like one game. You can get a good deal on like Mario plus Rabbids. I see that game on sale a lot.
But that's not a Nintendo game. That's a Ubisoft
that's
game.
true. That's true.
So Nintendo developed and published games.
Got me again, Nintendo.
Yeah. Mario plus Rabbids is Ubisoft. So.
Yeah, and that's a great game. I want to buy that just to have. Yep.
And then Hello says, it's cheaper than inflation. So that's what we're saying, hey, cheaper than inflation would have been. So it seems like a lot of the comments are kind of saying, hey, the $70 price point kind of makes sense. Whereas a lot of the poll results were the opposite. So that's very interesting how that works. The people who are commenting are kind of defending the higher price.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't want to say that we were defending it. But I
don't want to say I'm defending it, but I think I understand it at least.
Yes.
And then also, if you have a little bit of patience, you're not paying that. Like for 90% of the games, you're not paying that full price. If you're willing to wait a little while, or get a GameFly subscription and rent it, and then wait and purchase it later.
Yeah.
That's like throwing money at something to fix a problem with money, isn't it? That doesn't really make much sense. But Heather Cook, you shouted her out earlier.
Yeah, long-time commenter.
So says $60 wasn't as much as it was in 2006, but in 2006, $60 got you the whole game. Whereas today, if I'm paying $70, I want the whole game. If you're charging $70 and still selling additional content at launch, I'm just going to wait until the game's on sale. And then it says, so far, I haven't paid $70 for a game.
That's really interesting because I didn't even think about the DLC argument.
Or the wheel fit, like Nintendo's been doing that big time, where they're basically putting out a game that's like half to 3/4 of the way finished, and then they sell you the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Or they give you a free update later.
Yeah.
Even if it's free, if it comes 4 or 5 months after the game releases,
that's not okay.
It's not okay.
Yeah. I was watching a video just yesterday on some gaming channel, and they just made the comment. This isn't about DLC, but they made the comment, to get a game on day one and not expect that it needs to patch out some bugs is ridiculous. And I was thinking, well,
PS2,
Ocarina of Time didn't do that.
Right. You couldn't, because you sold it. There was no way to update it.
Right.
So the game had to ship.
Right.
And I'm not saying that those games didn't have bugs.
They did, and that's true. But they weren't game breaking because
sometimes they were.
But not for games like Ocarina of Time that.
Well,
I mean, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it did have a game breaking.
bug. Do you remember? I
remember the Water Temple thing, but
yeah. No, do you remember playing? What is the GameCube Mario game? Oh, Sunshine.
Yeah.
That game is pretty unfinished.
Well, that may be true, and it's also regarded as the worst 3D Mario game.
And
So there you
it was
go.
obviously rushed. It should have had more time in the oven, and they just and they didn't because they had a deadline they were trying to meet, and then they couldn't update it.
Right.
So in some ways, like the deadlines have always been there,
Yeah.
but now I'm starting to see like Breath of the Wild just got pushed.
Yep.
I mean, like I think that there are some companies making strides to not do that. I mean, but it really just varies because even within one, say like Nintendo, some Nintendo games come out and they just aren't finished. They're gonna give you like the Switch Sports coming out. Why is what is it golf? Why is golf coming later? Why isn't it included in the initial game?
I have no idea.
Like, is it because they wanted to hit the summer deadline?
Probably.
But then you have
I mean, look at Arceus. Arceus is clearly rough around the edges, and we heard that it was because they, were kind of rushing to make a deadline.
well,
So,
they made it super quick.
Yeah.
They did. And but then like also within Nintendo, you got like Breath of the Wild waiting to come out. Maybe that's because there's such a huge expectation on
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, where maybe Switch Sports doesn't have nearly that much expectation. I think they know it. Like it's like Cyberpunk. Okay,
Yeah.
that game was so hyped,
So hyped.
and right there was such a huge expectation, and when the game came out broken, it like ruined the game's name. And that
it
game
did.
is a very good game, but it was so broken that you couldn't play it.
Yeah.
And if you can't play it, is it a good game? If they had just waited a year, I think Cyberpunk would have at least met many, many more people's expectations.
Yeah. No Man's Sky did the same thing. No Man's Sky, I was super hyped for. I think
Fallout 76.
Oh man, yeah, that one hurt me. That I never even. Thankfully, I read reviews on that before I tried to play it, and
Yeah.
yeah. But No Man's Sky, I played very early on, and I was disappointed.
And like, I think a lot of people now we get nervous. Like, I think like people were nervous that Elden Ring was going to be that way.
Yeah, Elden Ring was a success story for sure.
Right. But there's just been so many times with these mega hyped games that they fall, something happens, and it's just like it really it makes it hard for us to justify these high prices,
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Crushing it, Heather Cook.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the thing to do is if you have, like, say you are either just have a problem with the games being $70 or $60 or whatever, or you are working on more of a budget, patience is the answer. Patience is the answer here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or there are other things you can do. Game Pass subscription is a phenomenal deal, and you get to play a lot of games. Now I'm convinced GameFly is a great way to game on a budget. There are ways to do it, but patience, I think, is the main one. Be patient. But it does suck to have that fear of missing out and not being able to get a game day one because you're waiting for it to go on sale.
It does.
You gotta be.
I mean, very
strong.
rarely do I jump on a day one, and
Yeah, you don't do it much.
I don't feel like I miss out. I play what I want to play.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. It's just got to be smart about it. I mean, I just I've been playing Triangle Strategy, and I was hyped for that enough to get it on day one, but I didn't. And I waited and I watched a review and
Yeah.
pulled the trigger, and it's amazing. So there you go.
So we got one more comment. You want to take this one?
Sure. Old Ryan, I'm gonna call you Ryan. It depends if the games suck or not. Most times you can download them cheaper.
Well, I was going to say, like, we're going back to an earlier comment where they were talking about the tiered pricing. It seems like on Steam, like that's way more of a thing.
Yes. Yeah, and I will say that this hits close to home because I've been thinking about that Lego Star Wars game. You can get and like Heather said, it has additional content, like day one additional content that you can buy. But on Steam, you can buy it. I think you can either buy it for $49.99 and get the base game, or you can buy it for $59.99 and get all the additional content bundled in. Whereas if you bought it for like PS5 or whatever, you would have to pay for that additional content, and you would already have paid $60. So it's actually cheaper on Steam. So I feel you, Ryan.
But then you don't get a physical copy either. And I think that the physical
don't get a
copy,
physical copy.
I think that does add costs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So something about I was just about to say something about this. Oh, I don't know. Oh, I was going to say I was going to tell you that you should, if you're interested in that game, but you don't know that you want to go all in on it, that's where you get your free GameFly for a month and then rent it and see if it's something that you really like. And then you could play through the whole game, send it back, and then wait a few months. And if you just want one for the collection, you buy it. And then if you want to replay it, you take it out and you play it. But if you don't and you just end up wanting it for the collection, you've got a sealed copy for your collection that you don't even have to break open.
That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So if you're a collector and you like having sealed, unopened copies of stuff, that's a way to do it and experience the games.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that point, Randy.
So speaking of what games are you playing right now? We're going to move into our last segment. What games are you playing?
Right now,
I know you've already said you're playing Triangle Strategy.
I'm playing the crap out of Triangle Strategy, and it has really brought me back into how much I love those tactical RPGs. You know, I'm thinking about Fire Emblem again, and I'm thinking about going back and playing an old one I never played. I mean, Triangle Strategy is doing good things for me, and I was talking to you about some differences between that and Fire Emblem, which is my main tactical RPG fix over the years. And it's different, but it's not worse. It's, and I think you could easily make the argument that it's deeper than Fire Emblem, but it's just different. And it's also more story driven, like overall narrative driven, whereas Fire Emblem is very much about the characters. It also includes the permadeath, so you care about the characters more. That being said, in Triangle Strategy, you might learn more about the characters because it has a lot of dialogue. So I'm almost reading Triangle Strategy, I feel like, instead of playing it sometimes. But that game slaps. So if you like those tactical RPGs, buy the crap out of it.
I wonder how, because it's a Square game, I wonder how similar it is to like Final Fantasy Tactics.
I think it's very similar, and I'm going to play that, and I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, let me know.
There's also an older one called Tactics Ogre. You ever heard of Tactics Ogre? Kevin Kinson talks about that one. And it was a Super Nintendo game, but it also, I'm not sure if it got released in America or not, actually. But it got remade for like Dreamcast and PS1 and some other things. Anyway, I've
you have to try that one out.
I have found myself in possession of a PS1 ROM for that game. So
you just like found it.
Yeah.
It just showed up on your computer one day.
Yeah, I actually made it all the way to the emulator. So yeah.
And then anything else besides Triangle Strategy?
I mean, I haven't played it in the past week, but I'm still playing Elden Ring slowly. I'm just really into Triangle Strategy right now. And then I'm also playing a lot of Smash again. And I've been playing a lot more Mario Kart and, of course, the Sea of Thieves. So I've been playing a lot. I've been playing more than I but I've also been on spring break.
Yeah, so that helps. I've been playing Ghostwire Tokyo. I mentioned that earlier. And I have to say, like, the Ghostwire Tokyo PR team needs to get some better trailers because, like, their trailers do such a bad job of conveying what the game is about, how the game mechanics are. I think they try to like go too cinematic with it, and it conveys like the mood of the game.
Yeah.
But it doesn't convey like the moment to moment gameplay very well at all. And it's like, or even what the story's about. And the story's a little convoluted, so I get like it's hard to sum it up. But I have to say, Ghostwire Tokyo has been like very, very refreshing to me because although it is an open world game, it's the actual moment to moment gameplay is so different than any other open world game I've played, and it's been really fun, especially because I just played Ghost of Tsushima, followed by Horizon Forbidden West, followed by Cyberpunk, and those are all very traditional. Like
you've been deep in the open world,
deep into it. So like moving into Ghostwire, this is so different. I've really, really enjoyed it, and it was kind of like a blind thing. I really, honestly, would have never purchased it based on the trailers, but through GameFly, I rented it. And this is certainly one that after I send it back, I'm going to wait until it goes on sale and I'm going to buy a physical copy at some point down the line because it's just a really cool game. And I think that if enough people try it, I think it will go on to being a cult favorite
Okay.
because it's just so unique. The gameplay is it's very it's magic based, so you develop all these magic abilities. The combat has a lot of projectile magic, and you have different types, and it's it's very combat heavy, but it's so fun. It's not like your traditional open world like fetch quest type stuff.
Okay.
You know, yeah, it's really really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot, and it's also got a collectathon type aspect to it, where you're having to collect these spirits and then you cash them in, or really like it's a little complex, but so it's got this really cool reward system where you are collecting stuff all the time, and it just constantly keeps that dopamine going because you're collecting spirits and then you're collecting SP, and through interacting with objects that are all around you, and it's just like you're constantly getting something and that they're actually like helpful to you.
Yeah.
And it just does a really great job.
That's good when games pull that off.
Yeah,
Arceus did a good job of that too.
Yeah, and there are some other games that do that really well. I think
For sure.
It seems like platformers do that really, really well.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean,
most open world games don't do that very well.
Can we trace that all the way back to like the Mario, like the coin, the simple coin in Mario?
Absolutely,
Maybe?
absolutely.
That might be.
You're like always, and
Yeah.
like the what does a coin do? It's nothing.
Oh, you get 100 of them. You get one up.
You get your one up, right? Right, but
That's enough to make you aim for the coins.
right, but that's the thing. It's like it's such a small reward, but it's like a small continuous reward. And most open world games don't do that at all.
What's the first game that did that? Like,
I don't know.
how old is Pac-Man?
Oh, Pac-Man was what? Pac-Man was quite old. It was at least early '80s, right?
Yeah, is it older than Mario?
I would imagine so.
Anyway,
know.
this
I'm not-
might be an interesting topic.
Yeah, I think we should definitely think about that. But also, Catherine and I are still playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We're getting very close into that, and that one has been another really great game. So enjoying that. I finished playing Cyberpunk.
Yep.
Finished it this week, and to replace that game, I started playing Wind Waker.
That's pretty cool. And you've never played that before.
No,
That's a great game.
I'm playing the HD remake for Wii U.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you
All right.
GameFly it?
No, I bought it.
Oh, you already bought it.
Yeah, I bought it like months and months and months ago.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think we've reached that point. I guess the only thing left to do now is shamelessly plug ourselves again. So I know we talked at length about Twitch, but go over there and throw us a follow. We sure would appreciate it, and we'd love to hear from you. And do the same on TikTok. We have fun on TikTok. We're cool. We can get hip with the Zoomer apps.
we absolutely are not cool, but still, nonetheless, check out our TikTok.
Yeah.
And until next time, guys, I'm Randy,
And I'm Daniel.
and this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.